Hey, welcome everybody to the Imperfect Podcast. My name is Sandeep and this is Omar.
So
How's it
such a
going?
pleasure to be back. Thank you.
Good to have you, man. Good to have you. Like it's been what, another week since we've been doing this?
Right, right. We're back at a couple of weeks, but yeah, today was hard. We were trying to come up with a topic for today and figure out what we're going to talk about. So I'm
Yeah.
happy that we made it here, even though it was hard.
Yeah, I know, definitely. So how you been feeling these days, man? Like you hear the news. If you listen to the news, ain't nothing but blues in the news, right? As they
Yeah,
as they always say. I personally don't listen to the news. I don't know if you do, but like, the big topic is Canada in a recession? Like what are your thoughts on that?
yeah. I do listen to the news. I do try to follow along and try to stay up to speed in context of the market. And you are right. It's tough times, right? When you look at the interest rate. The great news is the interest rate was paused this year. So sorry, this last cycle. So we didn't get an interest rate increase. But regardless, I think people are feeling it as we head into the Christmas season. Interest rates have gone up. That's impacted mortgage rates. People are losing jobs. I've seen unemployment go up a bit at large organizations as well. So it's uh
Scary
it's a tough,
times, right, man?
right,
Like
right.
yeah, like, we were, like I'm like a stay-at-home dad right now, and my wife works, and I am looking for another job, but like in between, like we're doing this to like make something, you know, in a world that people are losing their jobs, interest rates are so high, the fear and the worry, like at least for me, and like how I met you, we were both talking about the same thing about like how to do something passive, so there's a lot of fear out there.
Yeah, and I think that people are worried about many things, right? What the next year is going to bring. It's like we can't look at it so small picture as well, right? We got to look at a bigger picture. So, some people are worried in the immediate, how are we going to make the bills be paid today,
Yeah.
right? But I'm thinking big term, right? What does 2024 have in store for us, right? Like are we at the cusp of a recession that's what the topic is for today, right? Like,
Hmm.
is this where the recession starts, where unemployment is starting to inch up slightly? Inflation is getting a little bit under control, interest rates are stopping, but people don't have a lot of money to spend, and we're seeing that translate into the market, right? So are we really at that start of that recession, and are we looking at 2024 being a even more difficult year, if you
Yeah,
will?
yeah. I really hope, things will be on the upside in 2024, but it's hard to tell right now, right? I'm no analyst. I don't know what's happening in the markets. I don't know, only the rich know what's going on,
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Ah, come on. What are you thinking? This is a really great place to start the conversation. What do you think? Like, I have negative outlook on 2024. I actually do believe that this is the startings of the recession, and 2024 we're headed for some more pain. If
Oh man. Do you really think
what-
that? Oh man,
yeah, what do you
now
think?
I don't feel so great.
Oh no, man. I like you. I'm not some analyst either. I'm just looking at the data from a high
Yeah,
level and thinking that like I think that interest rates are at the highest that they can be.
yeah,
Um, I think now unemployment is coming to light as well, and I think all of these coupled together, I think of course, I don't know the future either, right?
yeah, for sure.
But
I mean, that's your prediction, but man, I was thinking things would get better.
really,
I was hoping that somebody would open their eyes and see all the chaos out there and and make a difference and help, but maybe there is no help coming. Maybe this is it and it's going to get worse, and it's kind of scary. Like my wife and I were just like trying to figure out things for next year coming up, and like our mortgage is up for renewal next year, and
oh no,
that's a scary moment now, a very scary moment. Like your payments could be double, and and you're like, okay, everything else has climbed in this world with inflation except salaries, and
yeah.
it's really hard to make it out there. So I don't know, Omar. We need some positive outlook here, man.
And you know what? Before we start with the positive outlook, I wanted to share, although we've kicked it off in a little bit of a different manner today here, but there is some positivity that we need to talk about, right? Like, I encourage people to look at the long term, right? Like, think about I'll give you an example. 2008, a recession did happen. We did suffer, but we're here now. We survived, right? So if you just look at 2008, it's a troublesome time to look at, right? Anybody who looks at the markets at those times is going to be worried. But then if you look at the 10 years after that, you'll see regardless of how low we were, we did climb, we did gain, things did get better, right? So where I'm finding the confidence in my day to day is just saying, listen, this is a smaller piece of my bigger life, right? These are going to be hardships that I'm going to hit in my life, no matter what way I look at it, and I'm going to have to pull through them, and I will. I was young once, I couldn't walk, I couldn't speak English, I couldn't type, I couldn't write. Now, if I focus on that and say, well, I can't write, am I ever going to write? Probably not, right? But if
Yeah,
I focus and say, listen, I can't write right now, but if I start to allocate time and effort into learning to write, Maybe 2 years later down the road, when I'm sitting here not being able to write and being depressed about that, I can turn around and say, "I was able to write," right?
Ah, king of examples right here, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice, nice. Yeah, I hear you, man. Yeah, I'm like, you really hope things get better, and I think it's just a mindset thing now. Like people need to shift, otherwise they're gonna be like very disappointed. Like let's just get into the reality that yeah, I don't know, like
Yeah.
it's unpredictable, and that's what it is.
But you know what? This is a great point, right? Like I think the recruitment process and even going for a job or applying for a job, everything is unpredictable. You don't know what questions you're gonna get. You don't know what that's gonna land
Mhm.
like. You don't know what the outcomes are gonna be. But how do you make that better? You prepare. You think. You understand what the job postings requirements are. You understand how you fit into the role. You really prepare for the unknown. And even though you walk into the unknown excited, confident, you prepare to help calm your nerves down and have that experience be slightly better for you. So I encourage people to think about it like this in this context as well. It's hard. It's bad right now, but think what would be a better state? What could help my situation plan? You mentioned your mortgage rate is coming up. Do you start putting 10 or $15 aside for savings? So when that mortgage rate renewal does come up, you're already telling me that you're worried, but now you've got some programming, some thinking, and some planning put into place. So although it still will be hard when you come up for that renewal, you've saved up a little bit of extra money. So that actual action of going through with the renewal is slightly better. Does that resonate well with you,
Yeah,
Cindy?
yeah, slightly better. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, like that's a good tip. Like little actions now, like today, would really like benefit in a couple of years. Like whether or not it will help. So like, yeah, good tips, Omar.
No, definitely. And think about it like this. I'm just going to throw this out there. All right.
Yeah.
Everyone has problems that they're going through, right? You can't assume that nobody's going through it. Everyone has their own issues and their own problems that they're going through.
Yep.
As a human being, you have two options. You can either get up and say, I'm going to complain about my problems every single day. And guess what? I promise you, the problem will not change. It
You'll
will
actually
stay
have
there,
more problems.
right? Or you could say, listen, this is a problem. I got to figure it out, right? I'll give you a really good example. Like when me and my wife moved into our house here, our backyard, the bricks were just falling apart. It's interlocking, and the interlocking did not look great. So the first year, we complained every single day. We looked out at our backyard, we're having breakfast. And me and my wife are like, oh my God, it doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. It doesn't look great. And one day I woke up and I'm like, enough is enough. If it doesn't look great, we control those outcomes. You and me have spent 1 year literally complaining every single day about how bad the interlocking looks. Let's go find someone and let's get it fixed. And you know what? We found four people to come and give us quotes because we had to figure out we had to be financially responsible people. We had four people come in and give it a quote this summer, actually. After 2 years, we got someone in for a really good cost and got that back interlocking done and completed. And now, guess what? Every time we look at it, we ask each other why we didn't solution this before. Why did we wait the 2 years and complain about it day in, day out? Right. So,
Oh, wow. 2 years, man, that's a long time.
and that's why I encourage people, right? Like it's going to be hard no matter what way you think about it. It's rough, right? I get it. You have your own problems. I have my own problems. Sandeep has his own problems. The poor guy's unemployed and he's going into a mortgage renewal. Now we could sit here and talk about how hard that's going to be, or I could try to give him some advice, or he could start to change his own way of thinking. Can I save a little bit more? Can I start to go out and find out other mortgage agents? Can I go with a private lender or maybe not a private lender? What are my options? What can I do to prepare as I walk to that situation? Understanding that regardless it's going to be tough and nervous, this will help that land a little bit better, if you will.
Yeah, thanks, man.
No problem. No problem. My heart does
I
go out to you. My
I
mortgage renewal is a couple of years out, but
oh, lucky you, man. Well, I'm hopeful things will get better and, somebody will open an eye here, but
and it's
yeah,
funny that you say lucky you, right? And like for me, where I'm sitting, I'm saying lucky you. And again, it's so great that you
perspective,
said lucky you because it ties it into what I was saying. Everyone, if you're listening in, I know you've got problems. Everyone's got problems. And look at how different, like from his view and my view, I'm excited that he's been on a fixed mortgage rate and that he's going to renew. But if I were to tell him my story, I'm on a variable. I got a couple of years to go, but I'm paying essentially just interest, right?
Mhm,
Month over month. So that actually doesn't feel good to me,
mhm.
right? So again, I'm just trying to tie it in to say that we all have our own problems that we're going through, and there's always two sides to that coin. And it's easy to jump to a conclusion and say, "Oh, that's so cool for you. You're so lucky. You
Yeah.
don't have to wait." But then you're like, "Oh, wait, hold on. Actually, did I even bother to see what Omar's going through from a mortgage perspective? Is it cool that he's stuck here? You know what I mean?"
Omar, you're a very positive guy, and, I think we should do a couple episodes on, like, how to see, the glass the other side, like, half empty, half full, like, you're always a half
Yeah.
full sort of guy, so, I'd love to learn from you about that one day.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I will share the way that I look at it is I understand what do I need as a human being? I need a place to live. I need food on the table. I need to have good friends and family around me. Those are some of my basic necessities, if you will, right? As long as those are being fulfilled and I'm getting another day to breathe,
That's amazing, eh?
I'm happy, right?
Yeah.
Why do I need anything more? I could, of course, I want a nice house. Of course, I want a nice car, but do I really need it? I don't. And if I tie my happiness to that, I'm never going to be happy, right? But I can tie my happiness to the smaller things, the smaller wins to celebrate. I woke up today. Amazing. I'm breathing. I haven't coughed once in this whole conversation. I'm laughing. I'm smiling. Gonna have some chocolate after this call. I had good breakfast in the morning. I got good dinner lined up. I really have nothing to complain about, right? I'm already better than many of the people that are going through their own struggles in life, right? So I can
Because
choose. Yeah,
because
sorry,
you
go ahead.
focus on those three necessities, right?
I love the way that the words that you used. It's the focus, right? You focus on what is most important to you and what will make you happy. Don't look at, oh, I want that Porsche, or I want that massive house. The second you start to tie your happiness into things that really are going to be unbelievably hard for you to achieve, especially if you're given in like, a situation like you and me, then every day you're getting up and saying, okay, okay. Or if you attach yourself to some smaller of those joys, you'll be happy you woke up. You'll be
Mhm,
happy you got fed. You know, when you see your daughter smile, that makes you. I don't even want to. I don't even want to understand the emotions that you must go through, Sandeep. Right?
mhm. Yeah.
And that's a joy, right? Like that's your daughter. You and your wife are raising her. She gives you a hug and she says, "I love you." Do you need anything more than life in life than that?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're right, man. That's, really amazing, like, outlook you got there, man. You know what you reminded me when we were talking about, like, the recession and all that, like, things are gonna get better. It reminds me of, this one audio recording I've heard before, and years back, I still do. I'm heavily into like self-help development, and came across. I don't know if you've heard of this book, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon
Oh,
Hill.
I have not.
A, a really, really classic book about how to get rich, and it pretty much lays out the formula. And how it was developed was by this guy named Napoleon Hill.
Yeah, of
This is just a little bit of backstory to my
course.
point, but Napoleon Hill was hired by the richest man in the world at the time, Andrew Carnegie. Um, so
Right.
Andrew hired Napoleon Hill to go out there and document and interview all the richest people in the world and put together how they did it, and come to a conclusion. And I want you to create a book. And he wouldn't get compensated for this, or he'd be compensated very low, and he would have to give up so much. Napoleon Hill, um,
Wow.
but he made a decision. He said, "I'll do it." And I think this book probably took 25 years of his life. And he put together this book, Think and Grow Rich. And a lot of a lot of CEOs and successful people out there will probably, if you listen very carefully, they might bring up this book. A very good formula on how to like, and it all has to do. It has nothing to do with dollars, nothing, because
Yeah,
you won't even hear about the word money in the book. It all has to do with mindset, and it's just,
yeah.
anyways. Okay, so long backstory. He inspired someone else. His name was Earl Nightingale. Earl, he was mentored by Napoleon before he passed away. So I'm like talking like Napoleon Hill was born, I think, in the early 1990s, like 1903 or something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
Earl was
Wow.
born 1921. He died 1989. Earl, so he was inspired. He was an American speaker. He always talked about motivation, and he was inspired by Napoleon Hill and his work, for the mindset. And so, I have his book here. Like, this is just one of his books. Actually, it's not even a book. It's just, oh man, you can't even see it. Okay,
There you go. There you go.
let me hold it here.
Okay.
Okay,
The
it's called
strangest secret.
the Strangest Secret, and it's not really a book. It's only 46 pages long or something, but
Yeah.
it's basically his audio recording, because he won a gold medal for this, back in the day in 1950. But this is the text from the audio version, and there's one thing in here, like, that really stood out when you were talking. So, like, I'll just read it. So, we learned to read by the time we are 7. We learned to make a living by the time we are 25. Often by that time, we are not only making a living, we're supporting a family. And yet by 65, we have not learned how to become financially independent in the richest land ha- that has ever been known. Why? Because we conform. So, like, conformity, like, even just us paying attention to the bad news out there, we're getting sucked into like change to like what a mindset should be like. for this world. But like, that's why I always say like I'm trying to escape the matrix. It's trying to unplug yourself and just like find your own, source of, like reality. And
Yeah.
happiness is part of that. So like searching for, like what makes you happy. And it's not the same answer for everyone. So like focus on a couple of things and
Yeah.
just yeah, I love that. So
And thank you for sharing that. And you know what I I absolutely love that you shared that passage, and thank you for sharing about the book and the author. It's a book that you need to share with me as well. After you're done reading, perhaps you can give it to me. And you are
yeah.
right. You know, what I love about what I'm learning from what you've shared with me is that there's different peoples that are looking for different outcomes in life. You can either come up with your own outcomes and find your own happiness, or you can help someone else live out their happiness and their outcomes. For example, these people in the media and in the stories that they're sharing and all this negative energy, they have their own agenda. They have their own outcomes. They want to
Mhm.
make their own money. They're a business. They're not, nobody is giving you a favor for nothing. Just remember that, right? So whatever they're doing, the more you tune into that, you're actually helping them make money in their own pocket, right? So think about it in your own way. Think about what your happiness is. Don't let XYZ or Sandeep or Omar or you think about, reflect, come up with what makes you happy, and then start to live those happy moments out. Make them occur more and more and more. And don't let someone else tell you, hey, you'll be happy if you watch my media channel and you'll get information. No, that's you're helping that person live out their dream. Live out your dream specific to you. Find your happiness and what makes you tick. And thank you for sharing that passage. It was
Oh,
meaningful and powerful, and it's so true, right? Like
thanks.
you do what's it like you don't know how to walk, but by the age of 7 you learn. You don't know how to run a family, but by the age of 25 you're running a family. Then why by the age of 65 after living out all of these years of your life are you not financially responsible or financially set up for success, right?
'Cause yeah, we conform. We fall into the system. We
Yeah,
go to university, we stack on all this debt, we go out to a world that's just cruel, right? Like we
yeah.
conform. Eh,
And we
like
find
I
sorry,
find
go.
like maybe that's part of the reason why I'm still unemployed is because I have a resistance to it sometimes.
And we let society tell us, right? Why why is a Civic not a cool car, right? Like I'll tell
Yeah.
you, I was at the University of Toronto yesterday, and I was with a colleague, and me and the colleague were speaking at the University of Toronto for a DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion event, and we both walked out, and we both have Civics, and we were both just in awe of how much we love our cars. I was like, I never want this car, and both of us were laughing and saying it's society that tells us go get a Land Rover or
Yeah,
Range Rover
right?
or Porsche, whatever have you. Why is that a nicer car than my Civic? I think the Civic is just as nice as that Porsche, right? So
Yeah.
it's the way that you think about things, right, my friend?
It's your lens, your perspective, and it's yeah, it's just how you see the world and how you want to define it because really nothing has meaning to it unless like other than the meaning you give to it, right? Nothing has meaning. Like
And
this
you,
this mic is probably valuable to me. It's $50, very
yeah,
valuable to me, but someone on the other side of the world who, may just be getting by with the three necessities of life.
yeah.
This might not be valuable at all.
And you know, I think back to you and me when we started this YouTube channel. We could have gone out and spent hundreds of dollars, got fancy equipment. We were like, no, we're gonna try our best. We're happy. Sure, our video might not be perfect. We're imperfect. Sure, our audio might not be perfect. We're imperfect. Sure, our videos might not be perfect. We're imperfect, right? Let's start with what we've got. Let's make sure that you're happy, I'm happy, which is what we're getting. You're happy that we're helping people. I'm happy that we're helping people. We have barely any views, but we're still happy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because our happiness is not, it's not attached to what people think or what the normal get views, grow. Our happiness is attached to getting together, talking openly, being imperfect, and in the most authentic way that we possibly can be, right?
Mhm. Yeah. Put well.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'll say that this has been, we started off a little bit more depressing, and recession is top of mind for many people, and even amongst our circles. I think that that's why me and Sandeep wanted to talk about the recession today, in a little bit more of an open forum. We're having these conversations with our friends, with our families. We have our own mortgages coming up for renewal. We're in this space, so it's on our minds. We wanted to talk about it openly with everyone here, and hope you found this helpful as well. And we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are you doing to cope through the recession? What are your thoughts on how the next year is going to be? Do you guys feel that there is going to be a recession? Are we at the cusp of a recession? Or to Sandeep's point, are we hoping for a better 2024? What are your thoughts?
Yeah. And if you're watching this till the end, I want to thank you, and I just want to
Yes.
say, I would love for you guys to leave some comments below this video and this podcast, and just let us know, like, how did we do? We're trying different things on this podcast. We're trying different interview styles, different recordings. We're putting a bunch of different clips out there. How did we do? Are there topics that resonate with you? Are there topics that don't? Like leave us some comments so we know what to talk about next. And we'd love for you to subscribe and continue this journey. Like this is forming into a channel where eventually you're going to be our audience. So we want to know what you were interested about. So that's all.
And if I could leave you with one thing as we head out here, guys, please, in the times that we're headed towards, we're headed into a beautiful season, especially in North America. Please find your happiness. Find those little moments of joy that add up to become a massive boulder of joy. Find a way to make sure that you're happy in your day to day. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.